Hello. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let me get my itching out of the way. So I am Sarah from Aligned with Sarah. This is Let's Talk Tuesday. And it's also November 1st, which I've been spending most of my day working on the newsletter. And I am forgetting that it was Tuesday. So I feel kind of like rattled and surprised that it's like all of a sudden here in time, and we're doing it. So it feels wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad to see we have 1 or 2 people joining us, which is great. I have some announcements. So the newsletter is coming out later this evening. I mentioned that earlier, that I was working on that. And we're going to have the announcements about the upcoming events for November. And they're also going to be up on the website once everything is finalized. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And then that is the beginning of the reflection, my favorite part of the newsletter. It's the beginning aspects of the blog post that will go up on the website later in the month. But it's kind of the inner thinking that goes behind it. It's the first draft, or a very rough draft, of the thoughts that go into it. And I love hearing from people about how that feels for them, what they've learned from it. I really feel like it touches my heart every time somebody shares what that means to them. So a couple other things here on the YouTube channel. I started to add new playlists. So one that I will direct you to right away is the resources playlist. When I do presentations, or when I work with clients, when I was just doing all of that work with the 2-week tweak, there's a lot of YouTube videos that I refer people to, or I use them as my own tools for whatever meditation, yoga. And I thought it might be nice to have them in a playlist on my YouTube channel. So look for the resources playlist. And I also added time to laugh, because I love funny videos. I love things that are family friendly and lighthearted, and just have a really fun spin on them. So I think there's probably 1 video in there, but there will be more. So I love the funny videos, and it is always so beneficial to be laughing. So last announcement, I put this out there in a Facebook post. I think it's actually just on my Facebook, but I would super love someone to help me and be event planning, event announcing, event organizing, event putting it up on technology, social media stuff. And I need someone that is an independent contractor, which means you just give me a bill and I pay you the bill, and I'm not hiring you as an employee. So if anyone is interested, if anyone watching this knows someone, please spread that word. And I would love to talk to you or the person that you know, because that would be such a great resource for me. So thank you in advance for all of the support that is flooding into my life with that aspect, because it's a little bit overwhelming. So let's see. Our focus for this month for our piece of wellness is the thought of listening. I approach my work, and I approach many things on lots and lots of different layers. But the one thing that is very consistent with how I imagine what my job is when I'm working with clients, where I'm a facilitator, like of a conversation. So there's a conversation happening from your body, from your mind, from your spirit, and there is this misalignment that's happening. And the tools that I have gathered help me understand what that conversation is, and help find ways to bridge the gaps of what's trying to be said and that being received and understood so that that area of the body can heal or get attention or have some support in some way, so it can then become aligned. So with listening, the topic of this Let's Talk Tuesday is specifically, what do you hear when you listen? So that's kind of an interesting question, right? So listening is a serious skill. It takes a lot of effort, I guess. I feel like it's a very learned behavior. I don't think that there's a lot of very natural listeners out there, but that just might be who I have interacted with. But I think it takes effort. I think it's a skill. I think it's a very much a learned behavior. What comes naturally to us is, listening to what our belief systems have been fundamentally established as. And the first point that I want to make about listening and what it is that we hear when we listen is the concept where we have this conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. I talk about this a lot. It's up here on lots of videos. I love to refer to the mind, the whole mind, as 10 people in a room. The conscious mind is only going to be one of those 10 people. The subconscious mind is going to be the other 9. So if the subconscious mind is in a rhythm of feeling unworthy or forgotten or full of heartache or full of anxiety or full of whatever, joy, we can also be full of lots of positive things, we're going to hear that more than that voice in our conscious mind that's saying, I think I can, or I should try, or I am worth it. That is one voice against 9 voices that have a belief system, that have a rhythm, most likely, that have foundational thinking that we naturally just look for proof for the things that we believe. That is the way that our brain is programmed to move forward. I believe that this is the best way to build my home as a Neanderthal way back when. So of course I'm going to go look for proof of why this is a good idea. What other animals build their home this way? How does this protect me? How does this keep me dry? How does this X, Y, and Z? We look for proof of what we believe until something on purpose gets in our way and shifts our direction and shifts our focus. So that is point number 1, that subconscious mind versus the conscious mind, and how much of the brain power that we have is really tied up in that subconscious mind and that established thinking. So my number 2 point, what part of you do you listen to the most? And this question I feel like it's like a loaded question. I don't even know how else to describe it. I feel like it's, we're just going to go into it. So what part of you do you listen to the most? So we talked about the conscious mind. We talked about the subconscious mind, but what part? So does your listening come from your heart? Does your listening come from your right side brain, this like creative piece, or like the logical left side of the brain? Is it very linear? Is what you hear very linear, or is it very abstract? Because where you are coming from, where you're focused on, that's where this is kind of going to filter through and show up. So yeah, do you listen mostly from the left brain, from the right brain? Do you have a positive mindset? Do you have a negative mindset? Have you established thinking that is that neutral mind that I talk about and I love so much? Does your listening come from your heart? Does your listening come from your culture or your heritage or your religion or your ancestry? That can be very directing and very supportive for us. And it can really establish, do we look for just people that have those belief systems, or, do we mix and match and compare and look for something else? The other thing that we can listen to the most is our trauma. And our trauma is going to be coming from that subconscious part of the brain, not the conscious part of the brain. So it's going to take up a lot of room if we let it. right? So if we are just remembering, this happened 17 years ago, and then, now I'm smelling the same smells, or, the car is tipping over again, and this trauma of this car accident is coming back. Sometimes muscle memory can really save the day in those situations because we are listening to our trauma and it is going to save us. We have learned something in that event. Other times, it can get us really stuck, and it can get us really unaware of what is in front of us and what is happening now. So that's my second point, is acknowledging where you're listening from in your body. So my number 3 point is goes back to so it goes back to the second point. What is the answer to this, right? What is the answer to, is this left brain, the right brain? Is this my subconscious mind? Is this my conscious mind? And this is where it comes into those skills that I talk so much about in my workshops, where I talk about what you focus on matters, right? So paying attention to what it is I'm focusing on. Am I focusing on everything that I already believe, or am I going to be listening and hearing another point of view? Am I going to apply that skill, this listening skill, and try to hear something new? What you focus on matters. Are you focusing on what you believe, or are you focusing on being open-minded? Another thing that will help direct and give you guidance is what are you in rhythm with the most? So what gets your attention easiest? Is it people being angry? Is it people laughing? Is it people dancing? Is it people with their families? What are you in rhythm with? And sometimes this can go back to the ancestry, heritage, culture, religion. What day is it? Where am I supposed to be at in this cycle of rest and work, with my religion or with my culture? This is this is November 1st, so we're celebrating that concept we have the Halloween and All Saints Day and the Day of the Dead, where we would be in rhythm right now with acknowledging the other side of the experience of life that we have in this body, so we can be open to other people's experiences. And the nice thing about Halloween is that those holidays really kind of intertwine and interweave with their belief systems. So it really opens up the door for, in my opinion, a lot of open minds. I love Halloween because it's kind of like the day of universal acceptance. You can really just be whoever you are, however you want to be, in any moment of the day, and you can change it, every hour, and nobody even cares. You actually get applauded for the effort that you put into being something else, being something creative, paying attention to the details. So, and many times, what we pick for Halloween, we are in rhythm with that, or we want to be in rhythm with that. We want to be a superhero. We want to be, larger than life, or we want to be larger in life, like being a dinosaur, or we want to be, partnered up with someone and have an outfit that matches with somebody. So we are in rhythm with finding companionship. So yeah, of analyzing what it is that you're in rhythm with. The belief systems that we feed drive what we look for proof of. So we've already talked about this a little bit, but when we're kind of evaluating where our answer is to what part of this is this coming from, evaluating that belief system and looking around. What does my family believe? Like these people in my home, friends, roommates, like what do they believe? What do the people in my religion believe? And making sure that you're making a decision and have answers for the things that you want answers for, and make sure that you're not just looking for proof of your own existing belief systems, that you can listen outside of them and have a bigger experience to be able to evaluate, okay, well, where is this coming from inside of me? What is this growing? How does it feel? Do I want more of it? Just adding more questions out there. So I also have on here this answer to, finding, what is the answer to, is this coming from the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, the left brain, right brain, all of this? Finding the answer to that question I want to talk a little bit about, again, something that I talk about very often is the emotions. So when I do my work, a big part of it is Reiki and body code, emotion code, and that comes down to the center body, the rhythm of the body, the frequency that we are putting out into the world. And those frequencies come from emotions. Our emotions are molecules that come from glands in our body that run the center of the body here. Um, they put out these hormones, and those hormones create our emotions. Those hormones are measurable. Those hormones are affected by our posture. They're affected by our surroundings. They're affected very quickly. I feel like it's 30 seconds. I might be wrong on that, but 30 seconds in holding a power pose changes the chemistry of saliva before that power pose and after that 30 seconds. It does not take very long. And that is from that concept of faking it until you make it. So you can pretend that you got this, and it will shift gears inside of your body and create a vibration. Start sending out hormones that believe, hormones that encourage confidence and that are flowing in you when you do have confidence. The postures, the way we take up space matters. And we can fake it until we make it. So my last point here for Let's Talk Tuesday, and I do have a trooper here, and I'm looking all over for my notes. If you have anything to say, please add it into the chat. If you have any questions or any comments, I'm glad to have attention here. So the fourth point that I want to make, I guess it's not really a topic. The topic is listening. I want to talk about the audience. So we touched on this a little bit with this last point, but paying attention to who is listening to me and who am I listening to? Kind of getting that every once in a while, getting that check in where my environment, what's going on, because we do have this frequency that comes out of us. And, if we have this high anxiety, or if we have this negative belief system, or even our left brain experience, are we in a very linear environment, a very linear thinking environment, which might not be stimulating? It might not be pushing us out into being creative. It might not be what needs to support us to be going in, finding something new, improving our listening skills. Because if we are only hearing the things that are, we already know and hear what's on the inside, and we're surrounding ourselves with, these people that have the same belief systems, we're not practicing the best listening. We're not kind of stretching our ability to listen, because we're just hearing what we already know. We're just finding proof of what we already know. So you might be sitting quietly, you might be taking notes, you might be kind of going through the motions of all the right things, but exercising that skill of listening, it becomes very challenging when we are listening to somebody that has a different belief system, even if they're being very positive and talking about their own experiences. We might not, be in a place where we want to hear, because of being used to being surrounded by people that only think, only talk, only believe the things that we believe. So exercising that listening skill, it really is, in my opinion, something to talk about, a point to keep and to throw out there, as far as just evaluating who is it that I'm interacting with all the time, and does it stimulate me, and does it stimulate the ability for me to exercise my skill of listening to make that stronger. And I said this first question, who is listening to me? And then who am I listening to? Am I listening to my ancestry? Am I only listening to my ancestry? Which that is very valuable. Having a culture, having a belief system, having, what do I want to say? Symbiote, or I don't know the word I want to say. But having rituals, having things like that, those are wonderful. But also, being able to ask questions and being able to get deep answers, or maybe you don't even need deep answers, but I usually do. evaluating who is it that I'm listening to. And this is kind of bringing us back to that first point. Is this everything from my subconscious mind? Is my conscious mind contributing? Is this everything from my linear thinking left mind, or is there some right brain creativity going on here? Or is it all on the other side? Is this all so very abstract, nobody's going to understand it? Should I be involving some left brain, some logical thinking in this experience? So, and I think and just kind of also evaluating, I wanted to say this too. I wanted to say also evaluating and kind of assessing, maybe you've fallen into a group that likes to walk in the morning. Okay, so you're out there walking, and you might find yourself beginning your day or ending your day with a lot of complaining. When I lived up in Vermont for a little while, there was a group that had gathered, and they called it the Stitch and Bitch, and it was a group of people getting crafts done and getting whatever done, and therapeutic kind of to just kind of complain and get it out. But it's also really good to acknowledge, am I meeting these people and then like launching into all these crappy things about my day? Because what you focus on matters, and what you focus on, where your energy goes, grows. So focusing on all the negative, focusing on, just complaining. Okay, great. It's great to just dump once in a while and just get it all out. But this is what you're connecting to with these people. This is what you're resonating with. And this is what you're growing. So making sure that that's what you want to be doing versus, I've got these great exercise shoes, or I'm looking for some exercise shoes. Who likes their shoes? Or, is there something that I should be paying attention to? Or does anyone know about a deal or have a coupon that they've clipped? Or Kohl's Cash, which like absolutely melts my brain with, I want to use it. I need to use it. Whatever. But, talking about positive, talking about what you need, talking about what feels good, your best parts of the day, making sure that when you connect with a friend or connect with a group, that it's not just the same old grind. It's not the same old yuck. It's not the same old energy down, that there's some stimulation that's happening and some positive vibes, some positive outcome, filling up your cup, filling up that container of your energy, making sure that it's not poking holes in your container of energy. I wish I had my container that I've been using for my workshops, which is one of my favorite things. But yeah, just assessing that. And that's, again, just kind of who is listening to you and who am I listening to? What's this group gathered, and sort of assessing how we spend time together. So I'm down to one person. If this person, you want to say hello or ask a question, we can take a moment to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to get back to putting together my newsletter and finishing up homework with my kids. And we will, I will talk to you again real soon. And I think my dog wants to say hi. You want to say hi, Max? Come here. Come here. He's my biggest fan. He's the best, aren't you? He's here for like every video because he's the best. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. And I hope this was helpful. I will be back with my weekly videos and some shorts for this month, and really focusing on listening, skills for listening, and different concepts to include with that process. So thank you again, and I will talk to you real soon. Have a wonderful night.